Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is April 20th, and right now we are looking at the visible satellite imagery. You can see BC, Washington, Oregon. Nice, glorious sunshine out there. You can see the snow on the mountains, but you can clearly see what is coming as we go through the day and the afternoon today. A strong marine push will be rolling in. We're going to dive into some of those details here as we go through the video today. We'll take a detailed look at just when this is supposed to occur as we go through the video today, and you can already see a little bit of some cloud activity across the Olympic Mountains. If you have a view of them this morning, just kind of a precursor of what is to come. Taking a look at Spokane National Weather Service, look at this late Saturday night and early Sunday morning, some strong winds down the east slopes of the Cascades, across eastern Washington, get some blowing dust out there, some gusts to 45 miles per hour. Always good graphics from the National Weather Service Spokane. And Montana also dealing with some high wind warnings here, kind of the same thing here as the system moves through. It's going to pack a bit of a pressure gradient with it as well. So some breezy conditions, some choppy waves on some of the lakes out there. And this includes Moses Lake as well in Washington, but a lot of the lakes out here are going to get pretty windy. You can see we do have some high wind warnings across the Rockies here, and Great Falls, Montana, same thing, and some pretty big wind gusts, maybe 65 plus. So heads up if you're traveling eastbound. And if you want a nice portable home weather station, you want to record the wind at your house, the temperature, the lightning detection system, you know, click on that link down below to save 10% off. Highly recommend that station. I've been testing 2 of them at my house for the last year or so. Now, taking a look what's going on here, we got 500 millibars that I'm showing you right now. You can see the ridge bringing us our nice weather yesterday and for at least a portion of today. And then as we go through the day today, though, you can see by the time we reach about, 5 p.m. here, you can see we are going to be bringing this next system in here, and this thing is going to shoot through and really kind of kick a strong onshore flow and bring that rapid drop in our temperatures as we go through the evening hours tonight. And then we're going to try to bounce back a bit here as we go through the early portion of next week, but then we've got another system rolling through here. So kind of the roller coaster springtime ride that we're going to be going through here. Now, taking a look at 10,000 feet, 700 millibars, you'll clearly see the cold air aloft with this system off the coastline here. And you can see that bowling ball just kind of roll through the Pacific Northwest here. And then it will be kicking out, though, as we go on in through Sunday night. By the time we get towards Monday and Tuesday, we're going to try to bounce back a couple nice days, maybe get out of that before we bring another system in here. Now, taking a look at this is 24-hour 2-meter temperature change. Let's put this into motion here. And what I want to show you is by the time we go towards Sunday, look at some of the differences here, especially across western Washington, actually across Oregon as well, just a little bit earlier of a change there. But as you go on in through the afternoon hours, it's about 2 p.m. tomorrow, look at the 20-degree drop for someplace Olympia, Tacoma, Seattle, Everett, Bellingham, Mount Vernon out here, just some really big temperature drops. You're really going to feel this temperature change as we roll on in through tonight and on in through tomorrow. And you can see these big 24-hour drops for portions east of the mountains as well as we go on in through the day Sunday afternoon. Now, taking a look at 2-meter 6-hour temperature here. So watch as we go through the day today. Check it out. Showing some 70s here for western Washington, and cooling is going to start a little bit quicker here along some of the Oregon areas. So it's going to not quite warm up just as much, but you see some 70s east of the mountains also. But look at this, you might get some 70-degree readings all the way up into southwest BC before we just absolutely crash back down. I mean, look at that. You're talking maybe a 20-degree drop for a few select areas as we go through the evening hours tonight. And then as we go through Sunday, you can kind of see the big temperature differences here as we roll through Sunday afternoon. And then maybe we'll try to bounce back here as we go through Tuesday. You can kind of see the temperatures bouncing back a bit. We'll see how that goes, but you see some 70s return to the Willamette Valley. And this is 3-hour 2-meter temperature change. Let me just update that, make sure that was the most recent data. It is. Let's put this into motion. So as we go through the afternoon hours, you can kind of see the warm-up that's going to be occurring here. That's actually about 10 a.m. This is just kind of the typical warm-up that you get when the sun rises as we go through the morning hours. But then watch what happens as we go through the afternoon hours. Look at some of these drops by the time we get towards about 5 p.m. on Sunday. Look at this. Not Sunday, but today, Saturday. The marine push is coming today. And look at this, a 23-degree drop in 3 hours for Seattle, maybe Puyallup out there, Tacoma, and you can see the big drops coming for some of the Willamette Valley as well. So big time marine push coming in here. Mother Nature is just going to kick on this air conditioning unit, and you are definitely going to feel it here because it's going to be very warm in the early afternoon hours. And then look at this 23-degree drop for Seattle. And this is the National Planet Models also calling for some very warm temperatures before they start to rapidly drop off as we go through this afternoon. As we go through Sunday, you can clearly see the big differences. I'm scrolling back and forth between Saturday and Sunday. There's Monday and Tuesday, and we start to bounce back a little bit there, but then we bring that next system in here and we cool ourselves back down a bit here as we go towards the end of the week. Now, taking a look at what's going on, mean sea level pressure. So you can see the pressure is higher across the interior areas. That's why we're getting that offshore flow. That's why we got some gusty winds yesterday through Enumclaw, up over 50 miles per hour, and the low pressure is out here. And of course, that air wants to go from high to low. But watch what happens. As you can see, that high pressure kind of retreat off to the east, and then we get the higher pressure out over the ocean, and that's that onshore flow here. Again, high to low. We're going to start to really kick on that onshore flow, and that is the marine push that we've been talking about here for a few days. And you can see that pressure rise as we go on in through the day Sunday, and then we start to relax that a bit here as we start to go on through early portion of next week, and that's when it may warm back up a little bit. But this should be showing here, if this is going to update, we'll check it out. But anyway, you might have to take my word for it. We had a 51 mile per hour gust, and there it is for Enumclaw with some strong east winds. And we still got that offshore flow here this morning, Saturday, before it comes. And you can kind of see this as we scroll through this morning, the cross cascade flow all the way out over the Pacific Ocean. But you'll see these winds start to turn southerly as we go about the noon hour here across a lot of western Washington, Willamette Valley. But that's not the big push. The big push comes right about here, and that's about 2-3 o'clock. You're going to feel that wind switch here. And the models are showing some low clouds rolling in with this as well. So, you may lose your sunshine here as we go through the afternoon hours also. And you can see some gusty southwest, westerly, southerly winds here across some of the San Juans, interior areas, and through the Puget Sound, Willamette Valley. And then as we go on in through tonight and into tomorrow, you can see the gusty winds really rolling across some eastern Washington, eastern Oregon with that strong onshore push. And this is looking at the cloud covers here. Cloud covers. This is low, medium, high, and total cloud cover. And as you see, as we go through the afternoon hours, it does show some low and mid-level clouds kind of rolling in here. So that is what's going to be going on this afternoon. I know it looks totally glorious and sunny out there, but take advantage of it early in the day. And this is Seattle, Tacoma. You can see the warmth today, and then the drop as we go through this evening here, and the rapid wind shift here that accompanies that marine push. And you can see the sky cover there 100%. The relative humidity bumps up here, and maybe a little bit of precipitation coming in with that, but it shouldn't be too much for most areas. And if we look at that 6-hour precipitation here, you can see some areas of the coast getting some by the time we go towards, just after the noon hour, that might be moving in here. And then it does bring some rainfall, mainly the North Cascades, Olympic Mountains here, maybe the Cascades of Oregon. British Columbia looks like it's going to get a decent soaking out of this, especially across the higher terrain. As we roll on in through tonight, and as we head on in through tomorrow, there's a little bit of convergence zone activity tomorrow morning, and then the system will continue to roll on through here. Then we'll be, actually, you can kind of see that convergence zone hang on here through tomorrow afternoon as well. So Sunday, probably definitely going to be a cloudy day here across a lot of the Seattle metro area, and then we kind of drop that precipitation off. And as we head on in towards Monday, taking a look at the 12-hour precipitation, I just want to kind of point out here that places like Seattle and Portland, a lot of the Willamette Valley, western Washington aren't getting too much precipitation out of this. Again, mainly for the higher terrain of Vancouver Island, BC, North Cascades, some of the Central Cascades not bad, and the Olympic Mountains here. But yeah, not a washout by any means, and not expecting much precipitation east of the Cascades also. And as we scroll through the next week here coming up, you can see we're not looking at any washout here. I mean, just very little precipitation, relatively speaking, because we are getting some systems rolling through here, but it's not bringing much more than a few hundredths of an inch of rain at a time. Now, taking a look at Seattle, there again, there's today, and there's the cool down as we go through Sunday, Monday, maybe bounce back a day, then another system tries to roll through here. This red line is the average temperature for this time of year. And by the time we get towards early May, we start to break that 60-degree barrier for the average temperature. And taking a look at Eugene, Oregon as well, a bit of a drop off, and then we bounce back and then we drop off again with additional systems arriving. Portland, Oregon, something similar there as well. Look at Monday, Tuesday, don't look too bad here, but Sunday definitely going to be much cooler than what we're dealing with today. Now, taking a look at the seasonal temperature outlook was issued 2 days ago. So this encompasses 3 months. So this is May, June, and July. And you can see the above average signal here across a lot of the West. Below average precipitation. We're already pretty dry here across the Pacific Northwest. So this is kind of a concerning signal, admittedly. If we look at June, July, and August, you can see the above average signal across much of the West as well. And again, below average, which we are very dry already at this time of year. So that below average signal is a little bit concerning here, and that could cause some drought concerns. We'll see how that works out here across the Pacific Northwest. More on that here in a moment. And if we take a look at July, August, September, temperature-wise, above average, and there's July, August, September, below average again. There's August, September, October, above average. So a pretty strong signal here for some above average conditions, temperature-wise, and below average precipitation across much of the West. But But there's good news as well. If we look way off into the extended, this is no doubt La Nina driven, and you can see the below average signal there, November, December, January. Above average precipitation, December, January, February, again below average, kind of just the select portion of the Pacific Northwest here, above average precip. And again, as we go on into 2025, below average with some above average. And then as we go through all the way through March and April of next year, still definitely a La Nina driven signal there for some below average temperatures. But I wanted to point this out about the drought concerns as well. Just because you hear the word drought does not mean that it's a climate change, fear-mongering thing. Drought is a normal part of the climate. So when people talk about drought and they talk about, increasing water rights for farmers or allocating funds for farmers to be able to, water crops and whatnot so we can grow food, it does not mean that there's something drastically wrong with our climate. And this was issued yesterday, the statewide drought declared due to low snowpack and dry forecast. This is because we are pretty below normal here for a lot of the snowpack. And relatively speaking, a person in Seattle, the Seattle Metro, uses much less water than a farmer out in some of these areas, especially eastern portions of the state. So it can really affect farmers if you're dealing with much less lower snowpack in some of these areas. And some of the groundwater does affect things as well. But I just want to kind of caution everybody, it's not some government conspiracy. This is just smart water management. We are well below 75% for many areas here, and that can very easily lead to some hardship for a lot of farmers. And you can see our snowpack out there is not good. Look at some of these areas, that's 54%. You can imagine that makes a big difference. And Yakima, the region, is not doing well also. So that's why that drought declaration was brought forth. And you can see even Oregon has dropped below average for a lot of locations as well. So anyway, just want to kind of calm people down. Drought is a normal process of the climate. It does not mean the world is coming to an end or that climate change is taking over or anything like that. So you got to really kind of dive in and check some of the sources on things when you're looking at stuff like this. It's worth it to read this press release and go into some of the codes and some of the things they show in here. It's not nearly as bad as it sounds when somebody just says, wow, we're in a drought emergency and climate change is, a huge problem, right? And this is climate change driven, and this is just government entities trying to gouge money out of the general public for nefarious reasons. So it's nothing like that. So I encourage you to look into these things and to read. You can check out these codes and see exactly what they're talking about. It's all very transparent. But yeah, anyway, enjoy that weather today. Get out there early, get out, enjoy that sunshine. And the clouds are on their way here, folks. And it's going to be interesting to see if we are going to get indeed a 20+ degree drop for many areas of Western Washington and Oregon, Southwest BC as we go through the day to day. And again, you can see the clouds are going to be moving in a little bit quicker and the cooling is going to start a little bit earlier for portions of Oregon. So we don't want to allow things to warm up too much, but you could get some low 70s even for Seattle by the time you get towards 2-3 o'clock before the really rapid wind shift comes rolling in here and we get that marine push into the area. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Otherwise, click like and subscribe. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.